UBI, Universal Basic Income. UBI, or Universal Basic Income, sounds a lot like something for nothing, the kind of governmental gerrymandering that drives libertarians like me nuts. UBI is defined as a model for providing all citizens of a country or other geographic area with a given sum of money, regardless of their income, resources, or employment status. The purpose of the UBI is to prevent or reduce poverty and increase equality among citizens. At face value, this screams of government overreach, of rewarding sloth and creating an ever-deepening financial deficit. My first thought was that this was the financial equivalent of a perpetual motion machine, an idea that looks great on paper but just doesn't work in the real world. Then I thought again. I began to think of UBI as an alternative to raising the minimum wage to a living wage. A living wage is a social engineering program that will kill hundreds of thousands of jobs. Half of U.S. jobs are provided by small businesses, and 2/3 of new jobs are created via small businesses. Small businesses fail at an astounding rate. Less than half survive beyond 4 years, and survival drops to 1/3 over 10 years. There are many reasons why small businesses fail, and cost of goods sold, i.e. wages, is one of the leading factors. One of my personal hair pullers are memes comparing huge companies' CEO salaries to minimum or low-wage workers. Oh, the disparity! Oh, the humanity! Oh, the irrelevance for most U.S. wage earners. Most of us work at jobs where the owner is struggling to make ends meet. The seven-figured salary earners in the U.S. represent 0.1% of U.S. wage earners. To be in the top 1% of U.S. income, one must earn $650,000 per year, and most small business owners earn less than $60,000 per year. 60! We need to stop conflating the huge salaries of megabuck earners with the ability of small businesses to handle a nearly 100% increase in pay. That is here called a foul, not foul. An increase in the minimum wage will affect the majority of wage earners. 80 million people in the U.S. are hourly workers. 500,000 non-tipped employees earn minimum wage. That is less than 1%. The average U.S. hourly pay rate hovers around $25 per hour. 42% of U.S. workers earn less than $15 per hour. Should that number drop to zero with a 15-hour minimum wage, wages for most workers will rise precipitously. Why? Because those currently earning $15 per hour will demand raises, and many union jobs are indexed from the federal minimum wage. This will be worse than a zero-sum game because the higher cost of goods sold, again, wages, will force more struggling small businesses to fold. Faced with the option of low wages and related suffering or high wages and an astronomical rise in unemployment, we need to find a better answer. How about the age-old one of tax the rich in the Trojan horse disguise of UBI? By definition, UBI is universal, but the hand that giveth can also taketh away. Let's allot every 18-year-old and older legal U.S. resident an arbitrary $25,000 UBI. Yes, we'll include emancipated minors. Rich, poor, middle class, every legal adult U.S. resident receives the UBI. Let's also make the floor for federal income tax $25,001. That makes the UBI a real $25,000 to those who earn nothing. Want to go to college? Use your UBI. Want to sit home and watch TV? Use your UBI. Want to pay your rent? Yeah, you know. A flat tax taxes the poor far more than the rich. Low-income people cannot afford a flat tax. And a high sales tax is an absurd burden on low-income wage earners. They have to spend a disproportionate percentage of income simply to stay alive than those of us with disposable income. A graduated personal income tax with fewer deductions is just and equitable. The 1% of U.S. wage earners that earn $650,000 or more, like all U.S. legal residents, would receive the UBI. They would then hand it all back via an equitable, reformed, simplified income tax structure. No zero-sum game, no greater burden on the middle class, and a libertarian way to allow low or no wage earners to relieve their suffering. The more I think about it, the more I like the idea of a UBI. A UBI tied directly to a reformed, tiered, simplified tax code. We don't need to eat the rich and we don't need to grind the bones of the poor to make our bread. What we need is a way to bring the bottom wage earners up without destroying jobs or personal incentive to work. Hey, it beats the class warfare that's being suggested by far too many on both sides.